The second round of the Stanley Cup Playoffs has begun, and while unfortunately the Calgary Flames are not competing for the Stanley Cup this season, there are still some pretty big implications in some of the remaining matchups as the playoffs do progress. Due to some of the stipulations and conditions in the trades that the Flames did make this season, it will have Flames fans paying certain attention to certain matchups as the playoffs do carry on. And while some of these matchups might be a little bit unfavorable in the hearts of Flames fans, I'm sure your head will want to be cheering for some of these teams as we carry on the quest to the Stanley Cup. We will get into all of that and more in this video, but first I want to welcome you to Flames Digest. I'm Mark Griffith. If you're new around here and you love the Flames, make sure you subscribe because only around 20% of the people watching are subscribed. So if you want to stay up to date on all the latest news, updates, reports, and rumors revolving around the Calgary Flames, then make sure you join the fastest growing community of Flames fans on the internet. We would love to welcome you to the Flames Digest family, and I gotta say thank you so much. The support on the channel has been lately. You guys have been smashing that subscribe button, interacting like crazy. It's been super fun. I love you guys so much. But let's talk about the playoffs and what the Flames maybe need as the playoffs do progress. And the first matchup we'll talk about is the one that isn't exactly great for the hearts of Flames fans, and that is Canucks versus Oilers. Yes, it's funny because it's kind of reversed from a couple of years ago when the Flames played the Oilers in the second round of the playoffs. That's how Canucks fans felt. They thought, oh my gosh, I would rather watch anything than this. Hopefully both teams just injure each other and lose. And while I personally don't want to see any players get hurt, it would be nice if this was a longer series. You know, maybe they wear each other down a little more, and then whoever comes out of the Dallas-Colorado series does go on to the Stanley Cup final. But Flames fans will want one of those teams more than the other. But let's get into this series. So let's take a look at the bracket here. If you look at the bottom left, yes, Edmonton kind of smoked LA once again in the first round of the playoffs. And Vancouver, because Colton Sissons cannot hit an empty net and Brock Besser is playing the best hockey of his life, Vancouver eliminated Nashville, which means we have the Canucks and Oilers in the second round to win the Pacific Division. Not exactly going to be what Flames fans want to see, but it should be for a neutral standpoint, which I'm not saying we are, but from a neutral standpoint, should be a very exciting series. It's some of the best talent in the world going at it. And, you know, as much as it hurts to say from a Flames fan's perspective, the Oilers are really good this year. This is the best they have looked in the McDavid era, and the Canucks too. They are looking absolutely insane right now as well. Like I said, Brock Besser is playing amazing. If they can unlock Elias Pettersson as well, they are looking dangerous as the playoffs do go on. Now, let's go back to the Elias Lindholm trade. This is what matters for Flames fans. It was a great trade for the Flames. A lot of people think it was a win for Conroy and for Calgary. So Lindholm obviously went over to Vancouver, and the Flames got so much back, including Kuzmenko and a first-round pick. But the big thing we want to focus on here is that fourth-round pick. Why is that important? Well, I'm sure most of you already know, but that fourth-round pick does become a third-round pick if Vancouver reaches the Western Conference Final. How do they reach the Western Conference Final? Well, they just got to win 4 games here out of 7 against the Edmonton Oilers. So, Flames fans, if you didn't already need a reason to cheer against Edmonton, really, but to cheer for the Canucks, I guess we can say, here it is. We get a better pick. A third-round pick, you never know when that could hit and a good player could come out of that. The Flames drafted Adam Fox in the third round, which I know he didn't want anything to do with Calgary, didn't play here, but it just shows that you could absolutely hit a home run on a third-round pick. And if not, a third-round pick is more valuable as an asset in a trade than a fourth-round pick is. I mean, no matter what, it's just great that the Flames acquired a secondary pick in the Elias Lindholm trade, but it would be nice if it became a third instead of a fourth. So that is a pretty big implication here of wanting a higher pick. The other big implication of this series is that we just want the Oilers to lose, really. The worst day in Calgary's history would be when Edmonton wins a cup. This long drought for Canadian teams, a Flames fan does not want Edmonton to be that team that ends that drought and wins Canada a cup. So here's a little meme from the Reddit. Vancouver, destroy my enemies and my life is yours. Yes, the Canucks, Vancouver, we are begging you to knock out Edmonton. Please do not let them have the bragging rights in this province. Flames fans who live outside of Alberta, sure, they probably hate the Oilers, but they don't quite understand the territorial just rivalry and hatred we have for one another between the cities. Personally, I'm definitely cheering for Vancouver here, just because it benefits the Flames. And also, I gotta be honest, I'm not a big Oilers guy. Let's get into the next series that matters here for the Flames, and that is the Dallas Stars playing against the Colorado Avalanche. This one should be a great series. It is arguably the two best teams in the league at this point. They are just playing insane. Dallas knocked off Vegas last night. So let's actually bring up the bracket again here. Dallas won in 7 games against Vegas. They did, the Lord's work in knocking out Vegas. Everyone wanted them gone as the defending champs, as the cap circumventors. Not a lot of people cheering for Vegas, but Dallas moves on. And then Colorado easily took care of Winnipeg. It was just released that Rick Bowness is actually retiring. Great coach, but Colorado really knocked out Winnipeg with ease after that big game one. I think it was 7-5 or something. What a ridiculous game that was. But what matters for the Flames here, of course, revolves around the Dallas Stars, and it revolves around the Chris Tanev trade. So let's bring that one up again. I kind of forgot that this was actually a 3-team trade when I was redoing the research, I guess. I forgot New Jersey was involved in this. But anyway, if you look at what the Flames received, they got that second-round pick. They got Artem Grushnikov, and they're retaining 50% of Tanev's salary. But the big thing here is that 2026 third-round pick. The condition on this one was if the Dallas Stars make the Stanley Cup final, the Flames get that pick. If the Dallas Stars do not make the Stanley Cup final, the Flames do not get a pick at all. So a lot is riding on Dallas making it to the Stanley Cup final. They do not have to win the Stanley Cup, but they have to make the final for the Flames to get a third-round pick. I know that pick is a couple years away. It's in 2026, but that could, again, end up being a very valuable pick, whether it's used as an asset in a trade or maybe they'll actually use that pick to draft someone. But it would be so nice if the Flames did get that third-round pick because Chris Tanev, let's be honest, was worth a lot. A lot of people think this was an underwhelming return for the Flames, and it would be great if they could get that other pick. So definitely go Stars, go. I love Cale Makar. I think he's a great player, one of the best players I've ever seen with my own eyes in my whole life. Colorado Avalanche, they're a bit of a wagon, but we need the Dallas Stars to make it. So hopefully Dallas will play Vancouver in that Western Conference final. I know a lot of people actually also wanted Vegas to win in the first round for the Flames because the conditional pick in the Noah Hanifin trade would have been higher. But I almost think this is better to just get another pick rather than just a bit of a higher pick in that trade. To get a whole other new pick, I think would be huge. So it would be so nice if Dallas can somehow do it. That being said, I think Colorado's winning that series, and I also think Edmonton's winning that series. But let's go Dallas, and let's go Vancouver. This is the first time I've ever cheered for Vancouver in a series in my whole life. But I can't believe I'm saying it, but go Canucks, go. Now let's move on to the Calgary Wranglers, and they actually took an L last night, and I want to talk about it a little bit here. So it was game 2 of the Pacific Division semifinals for the Wranglers. It was potentially the last home playoff game at the Dome for the Wranglers this season. Let's really hope it's not. So pretty much the series is tied now at 1 apiece between the Wranglers and the Firebirds, and it was an interesting game to say the least. Not many goals as the game progressed. It was only 1-0 for Coachella Valley going into the third period when all hell broke loose, really, and there were a bunch of goals. The Wranglers actually had the 3-2 lead off of 2 goals from Cole Schwinn and 1 from Sam Morton. Great to see the younger guys, the younger centers really playing so well. Coachella ended up tying it with about 5 minutes left, and then Devin Shore scores the winner. How long has he been kicking around? Devin Shore scores the overtime winner for the Firebirds, which was really unfortunate, tied the series. So now it becomes a best of 3 down in Coachella Valley. I believe game 3 goes on Wednesday. But the big thing here that I highlighted is look at that power play. The Wranglers were 0 for 5. It was hard to generate some offense for them so far in these playoffs, really. But the power play is just not clicking. And that is a real issue because there's obviously some firepower on that power play. There's guys who have come up to the NHL like Coronado, Peltier, Klapka. It was good to see, obviously, Cole Schwinn scoring, but not on the power play. Sam Morton, same kind of thing. And they really need the power play to start getting going. I mean, it was great that they gave Dustin Wolf some run support because he's been carrying the Wranglers so far through these playoffs. But to go 0 for 5 on the power play, I mean, we just saw what happened to the Toronto Maple Leafs, right? Sorry, I totally upset the Maple Leafs fan base yesterday in that video. That video went crazy, but I meant no offense to the Leafs. Sorry for proposing trades. But anyway, we saw what happened to the Maple Leafs in that first round. They only scored one playoff goal and then got eliminated. The Wranglers, they want to avoid a kind of situation like that. They need to get the power play going, especially as they take this series onto the road against the Pacific Division's top team this season. So it'll be vital for them to get that going. It was too bad that Dustin Wolf once again just can't get it done in overtime for the Wranglers. The Wranglers have been so the opposite of clutch throughout the past few years here, even back to the Stockton days. It's just been so difficult for them to win an overtime playoff game. So hopefully, if another game goes to overtime, they can clutch up, and hopefully they can get that power play going, and it'll take them all the way to the Calder Cup with Dustin Wolf playing the way he has been playing. Now let's wrap up this video with everyone's favorite part of the day, which is, of course, the comment of the day. And this one revolves directly around yesterday's video about, the Maple Leafs core four potentially disbanding. Who could the Flames go for? And I just really liked this comment from user ZMALQP555. He said, Nylander, my favorite. Reminds me of Hyman, also my favorite. Yes, I think most Flames fans would want William Nylander. I think a lot of hockey fans and Leafs fans in general think Nylander is untouchable and won't move, but you never know what could happen with the shakeup that is coming in Toronto. So could the Flames bring Nylander home in the way of back to his birthplace? There's potential. Zach Hyman is also a really, really good player. That's why I used him in the thumbnail of this video. He's insane, which sucks to say as he is an Oiler. But it's the same kind of situation where the Leafs just no longer really believed in Hyman, didn't have space for him in the cap room or really the roster, got rid of him, and look what happened. He has been absolutely insane. Maybe the same could happen with another player coming over to an Alberta team in William Nylander. I really like that comment. I love the positive comments. Thank you so much for interacting. I also want to thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe if you like what you saw here today, and have a wonderful rest of your day.